Delaware's Sarah Mcbride became the first transgender person to speak before a political convention, but more importantly is work with the National Human Rights Campaign. She is our first person this week. Welcome, Sarah.
Thanks for having me on.
So we're going to talk about that in a minute, but I want to focus on some other issues. First, let's start in Texas. We have a federal judge in Texas stopping the Obama administration healthcare rules. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, this is a judge that the conservative right has gone to try to undermine the president's legacy at every step. He's been a judge who's undermined LGBT rights before and a number of other administrative priorities. But the ruling that he just issued related to the Obama administration's regulations banning discrimination in healthcare against transgender people is really a troubling ruling, because what it means is that transgender people could face discrimination in healthcare, that transgender people could be denied services that are granted to all other Americans simply because of their gender identity. Now, it doesn't stop transgender people from still filing complaints, yes, but it does undermine the administration's regulations and throws into flux a situation that really was clear from the start, which is that discrimination is not only wrong, but it is illegal under the Affordable Care Act.
It seems like there's all types of transgender issues going on, even in North Carolina, the bathroom bill.
Right.
Tell me, what do you think about that?
So this is a bill, it's called HB 2, that was passed in a 24-hour period by the legislature and signed into law by the governor. And among other really heinous components, it does ban many transgender people from accessing restrooms consistent with their gender identity. This is really the new boogeyman of the right. And at the end of the day, it's an attempt to legislate transgender people out of public life. Because if people like me can't use restrooms that match who we are, it becomes much more difficult to go to school. It becomes much more difficult to go to work and to go on the main street and shop and go out to restaurants or movies. And so it's really an effort to legislate transgender people out of existence. It's mean-spirited, it's hateful, it's discriminatory. I think it's against federal law, and it's our hope, and it's what we'll be fighting for moving forward, to see the law fully repealed, because discrimination should never be the law of the land, particularly when it comes to an already vulnerable population.
You know, which brings me to an interview. Last week we had Governor Markell on set, and I talked to him about Delaware laws and whether or not he's worried about some of those laws would be rolled back. He talked about it, in reference to economy. Like, why would you want to infuriate a group of people who will ultimately bring business to the state? Do you agree?
I think that's absolutely right. We've been lucky over the last 8 years to have an incredible ally in Governor Markell. We've seen more progress over his last 8 years on LGBTQ rights than at any point in our state's history. It's among the fastest progress we've seen in the country on this issue. And it's not just because Governor Markell is a kind-hearted, compassionate person. It's also because he understands that inclusion is good for business, that if you want to attract the best talent, you need to create a diverse, inclusive workforce that allows every person's talents to be utilized and maximized to their highest potential.
Makes you proud to be a Delawarean?
It does. It does. When our state can be first or near the front on an issue, it really does make you proud to be part of a state that really has been at the forefront of so many issues in the past.
So worrying about whether those laws will be rolled back, that's not something that has crossed your mind?
You know, I think obviously you always have to be vigilant, but we have in our incoming governor, John Carney, a person who's also a strong ally like Governor Markell. He has a 100% rating from HRC on their congressional scorecard. We have friends in the legislature. I think in Delaware we're going to be okay, but I do worry about protecting the progress the Obama administration has put forward at the national level.
So what about soon-to-be President Trump? Do you have any worries about his thoughts?
Well, you know, throughout the campaign, Donald Trump endorsed anti-LGBTQ positions across the board. He committed to appointing anti-equality judges. He's said that states like North Carolina should be able to pass discriminatory bills. In his first effective governing decision, the appointment of a running mate, he picked someone who had signed discrimination into law in Indiana in Vice President-elect Mike Pence. So I think the LGBTQ community heard that. We're nervous, and we are going to do everything we can to protect the progress of the last 8 years that's not only moved our country forward, but has demonstrated to LGBTQ people across the country that they're seen and that they're protected by their federal government.
So really quick, how did it, just tell me about, walk me back, take me back to the Delaware, not the Delaware, but the Democratic National Convention. How did you feel on stage?
It was surreal. One of the great aspects of that was the Delaware delegation was just off to the right of the teleprompter, so I could see them the whole time. I could see my parents standing with them the whole time. It was inspirational, demonstrated to me that we are making progress and that the Democratic Party is a place that welcomes everyone.
And then last, what's next for Sarah McBride? What do you have on your agenda? I'm sure you're busy.
Well, I'm still working at the Human Rights Campaign, which is a fantastic organization, the largest LGBTQ equal rights organization in the country. Over the next few years, we're going to be trying to move equality forward while defending the progress of the last decade. But eventually, Delaware is my home, and eventually I want to come back to this great state and work and raise a family here.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah McBride of the National Human Rights Campaign. Of course, you have a busy schedule, but thank you for joining us here on First.
Thank you.